Hi guys, welcome back to Byte Review. Today we're looking at speed, and it wouldn't be a good speed test without throwing two smartphone juggernauts against each other, but which one can hustle faster? This is the iPhone 7 Plus versus the Galaxy S7 Edge in a head-to-head speed test. Now let's check the specs before we get started. On the iPhone side we've got the Apple A10 Fusion chip, which is Apple's first quad-core beast, and that's accompanied by 3GB of RAM. And over on the Samsung side we've got the Exynos 8890 octa-core chip, as this is the EU version of the S7, and that's backed with a meaty 4GB of RAM. So we're clear both phones are on the same Wi-Fi network and have all of their apps shut before we start the test. Off the bat the iPhone takes an early lead, but the S7 is only about a single app behind, which isn't too bad considering the processor is a little older. You'll notice Safari seems to be a bit quicker than Chrome here on opening the first website too, letting the iPhone pull around 2 apps ahead, allowing it to blitz Google Maps and Twitter. However, the S7 does regain some time with its rapid loading on Messenger, which pits it 1 app behind the iPhone again. This trend seems to stick until we hit the 5th row with Prisma. Interestingly, Prisma takes a little longer to open on iOS, which gives the S7 to catch up even more. They're pretty much neck and neck until the processing happens on the photo, where the iPhone quickly finishes and jumps into Spotify, again leaving the S7 an app behind. Now moving to games is where the iPhone starts to scream ahead, crushing its way through Smash Hit and Crossy Road in good time. Giving the iPhone a first lap time of 1 minute 22 seconds, while the S7 still deals with opening Crossy Road. The lead is then heavily in the iPhone's favour, which manages to plough through most of the second row while the S7 completes its first lap on 1 minute 41 seconds, a solid 20 seconds behind the iPhone. You'll notice while watching lap 2 that the iPhone starts to pull ahead rather considerably as well. A slower point for the S7 seems to be coming from Chrome loading websites, which gives the iPhone time to pull through the 4th row while the S7 remains on the 2nd. With the 4th row being dealt with quickly by the iPhone, it moves on to Prisma again, which loads a lot quicker this time round, presumably because it's been kept in the memory. Blazing through the second edit on Prisma, the iPhone moves to make short work of Spotify and then moves back onto games. While this is happening, the S7 manages to pull through the 3rd row and makes a good start on the 4th row as the iPhone digs into Crossy Road, loading the whole game again by the looks of it. Despite that, the iPhone manages to pull an impressive 2 minutes 38 seconds for its second lap time. While the iPhone gets started on the final lap, the S7 is finishing up the 4th row and makes a start on the 5th. However, as the S7 gets cozy with Prisma, the iPhone is making huge gains, loading Amazon quickly and chewing up the remainder of the second row. As the S7 gets started on the games, the iPhone manages to really quicken its pace, getting through the 3rd row and starting the 4th, despite me accidentally activating Siri and going back to Instagram. While this is happening, the S7 manages to finish up with Crossy Road and delivers a time of 3 minutes 26 seconds for its second lap, which is almost a complete minute behind the iPhone. The difference between the two devices is now very apparent. The S7 is only just getting started on the 1st row while the iPhone is chewing through the final row. The S7 does crunch through the 2nd row and manages to move to the 3rd while the iPhone completes a new Prisma edit and smashes through Spotify and the final games. However, it's clear the iPhone's going to be the winner. As it polishes off the final row, it gives out an impressive final time of 4 minutes and 6 seconds, while the S7 tackles through Snapchat and Instagram. Let's zoom the S7 along here to see how it fares in the end. its final time ends up being 5 minutes and 12 seconds, again around a minute behind the iPhone. So with that, it's clear the winner is the iPhone, right? Well, it's not quite as simple as that. You may have noticed during the test that Crossy Road actually has an extra screen on the S7 side of things, this Yodo Games logo, which lasts roughly about 6 seconds, and seeing as this went through 3 times, it would have added around 18 seconds of extra time to the S7. So let's deduct that in terms of fairness. There's also a few inconsistencies with Prisma, so let's be kind and minus another 5 seconds off for human error. That's 24 seconds from the S7's time, which still places it at 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So even with that, it's still very fair to say the iPhone was still the clear winner here. Let's not lose sight though. Not only is it a very extreme case of using a phone, no one opens and closes this many apps in a row, but it was obvious to me that there was differences in animation times between the two devices as well. I'm not trying to make excuses at all, but I think the slower animation times on the S7 seem more like a user experience design consideration rather than a processor limitation. Anyway, that about wraps us up for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see any other videos pitting the S7 against the iPhone 7 Plus. And thanks for watching. I will hopefully see you all in the next one.